something is still in your mouth, you have to spit it. You have to spit it out. What if somebody is sick? What is the sickness that will give me an excuse to break my fasting? Any marad, any kind of illness or disease, that, pay attention to this. If you have pain, it will make your pain go higher, acute, more. If it delays your shifa, if it delays your healing, if it will affect you or one of your organs, you have to make iftar. You have to break your fasting then. All right? So it's not just like I have a little bit of headache, you know, I didn't get my coffee this year. Maybe there is some kind of headache that will be so severe. I don't know, maybe some cases, somebody that is so sick you cannot take. Maybe an excuse then. So, for all of, and take the rule first. We will talk about what if somebody breaks their fasting. Take this rule, and it's so simple and so easy to remember. Anybody who break their fasting, أي إنسان أفطر في رمضان, they should do one of two things. Either one of two things later after Ramadan. Either qada, make up for that day or 10 days, whatever days missed, or fidya, to feed طعام مسكين, feed one needy person in place of every day. خلاص, it's either one. Which one should I choose? Is it by my choice? No. Anybody and everybody who will be capable, physically capable of fasting after Ramadan, there is no way they can feed a needy. They have to make the qada. So you are not capable here due to you being sick, traveling, any excuse, a woman that got the period during Ramadan. Then, and you are capable at any point in the future, you have to make qada. There is no way for you to make fidya. You have to make up for the missed number of days. Fidya is only for those who will never be able to make it up. Like somebody who is chronically ill. They have a condition that's going to be there for Allah wa shafi, but that's what it is, you know. Somebody who is old, next year or after Ramadan, they're going to get even older. So that is the only condition that somebody can make fidya. Fidyatun ta'amu miskin, feeding a needy person in place of every day. And talking about this, even though that's supposed to come later, fidya, ta'amu miskin, what? Maybe I'll mention the two opinions. Some scholars said, ta'amu miskin, that's what Allah said, food for a needy person. We know it's a food for one day, but is it one meal or 2 meals? You make the decision. If Allah, if you, let's say somebody is old, kabir fi sin, أو كذا, أو عنده any condition, and you will do the fidya. You will go for the fidya, which is feeding one needy person. Well, if you are capable, you want 2 meals in place of every. How much is the meal? Average meal. من أوسط ما تطعمون أهليكم. Average meal. It's not the Captain Anderson meal. It's not the cheap meal. It's somewhere in between. You make the estimate. Maybe $10, $15. طعام. If you want to make a ta'am, it's the best, because Allah said ta'am miskin. Can I give it in money? Yes, you can, but Allah said ta'am. Send ta'am. Send money for people in certain areas that need that food. 1 meal or 2 meals, you make the decision for every single day. So if you missed, and you don't have to wait until Ramadan. If somebody knows, I got this question yesterday, if you know from now, he's old enough, and I want to just pay it right now so people can, it can reach people during Ramadan or something. Yeah, you can do it right now, no problem. طيب. صلوا على النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Pregnant, breastfeeding women. A woman who may fast, but that might affect her or her baby. Scholars will say if it's going to affect her, then qada only. She may break her fasting if she chooses to, and then make up for the missed days later on. If no, I'm okay, I'm just worried about the baby in my stomach or the baby that I'm breastfeeding that's going to affect them, then scholars said qada and fidya, because it involves others. It's not mainly about you, it's about someone else. You make qada, which is count the number of days that you missed, make them up, and pay fidya. Other scholars said only qada. We cannot. You pick, you choose. That's your deen. Either make up for those days only, or if it was only for you and mainly for you, then qada only. It was mainly for the baby, then you make qada and fidya along with that. traveling people, how long should I be traveling before I break, or I can have the excuse or the concession to break my fasting? الصوم مسافة القصر. مسافة القصر, how long is that? This is 81, 82, 83 kilometers, around 50 miles. Around 50 miles. If I am traveling, my destination is 50 miles or more, then I can shorten the salah, I can combine the prayers, I can break my fasting. When do I break my fasting? When do I start using the concessions? If I'm planning to travel, let's say to New York, while you are still in your city, your name or your description is not musafir. It's from the time that you are called musafir. يعني العلماء في الكتب يقولون إذا غادر بنيان البلد. Once you leave your town, it's behind you. Yes, Panama City is there. If you are from Panama City, Panama City Beach is behind me right now. اجتهاد من العلماء قالوا if you are in the airport now, you are في حكم المسافر. خلاص, you are now a traveler. Officially, you can start using all the concessions. What if I know I am traveling and my flight is after dhuhr, 11 o'clock? I wake up and I take my breakfast. That you wake up with the intention, صائم, I'm fasting that day. Everything is normal until you're considered a traveler, like we said. Then you can break your fasting, not from before. And that applies to any condition also. Somebody who is expecting to be sick, or the sickness will affect them or something. Wait until that happens. I'm having a procedure later in the day. You start your day fasting. Don't, unless you have to take something, some medications or whatever procedure, something related to the procedure. But you don't just assume I'm having a procedure at Asr or Dhuhr or later in the day, and I start by breaking my fasting before that. You cannot do that. Wallahu a'lam. طيب. Those who are working hard conditions, tough conditions, especially if it's summer or hot or very demanding, physically demanding, same thing. If it gets to the level that they will be physically suffering, sweating a lot or something, they can break their fasting and they have to make up for those missed days later on. Can they start breaking their fasting before they go to work? No. Start your day fasting, get to your work. You never know. Maybe it will become easy, maybe you will have power, but if you start, you don't wait until the harm happens. But now I know I am sweating too much, I have to drink, go ahead now. You have the excuse. Once you have the condition that unbearable, you can now use the concession. For women, if the women during the period, they cannot fast. The one who says fast here is the one who says don't fast here. The one who says you fast, Fajr, don't eat. Maghrib, eat now, is the same one who said you eat, you don't eat. And inshallah, you still can do everything, almost everything else, adhkar, dua, pray to Allah. Many sisters feel not so good that it's Ramadan. You cannot fast, but you still can catch all the reward, inshallah, by making dua and joining the community, and by making dua and everything. طيب. So you have to break your fasting. Obviously, you don't eat in front of everybody, but drink water, eat something, break your fasting. What if the period comes 1 minute before Maghrib? Inshallah, your reward is with Allah, but that day doesn't count. ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. ولو تغرق قبل الفجر بلحظة. If the period is gone, 1 minute or any portion of time before Fajr, then even though before you take the shower, that day becomes obligatory on you. Same applies for men. If men and women, intimacy during the night, you have to take the shower. But what if I don't take the shower until Fajr is there? Doesn't affect fasting. It's okay. You're fine. Same thing for women. If the period is gone and I have to take a shower, can I wait until after Fajr I wake up? It's okay. You can do that as well. And you have to fast. That doesn't affect fasting. They are two different things. I think I don't want to make it too long. We may open it up for people to ask their questions, inshallah. If you have any question now, feel free. For what? Shots for what? Cut the appetite. It's always advisable to not go abnormal. Anything. There are pills for women to delay the period. I'm going to Hajj, I'm going to Umrah, it's Ramadan. Do not do it. I'm not saying it's haram. I am saying it's highly advised. Please don't do it. It's gonna cause a lot of disorders in a lot of disorders in the body. Go with the normal thing. So shots to, kill the appetite. Fasting is about. So they take it during suhoor, yani before Fajr, once a week. If you want to do that, do it. But I'm saying, unless there's no condition, it's just the normal feeling of hunger. That is one of the reasons of fasting. We need to feel the hunger. We don't want to just the shots that kill the appetite, the shots for the coffee, the shots for the caffeine, this and that. And talking about shots, all shots of all kinds during fasting is okay. The only shot that you can injection, any kind of injection through the skin, not talking about injection through manfadh maftuh, suppository they call it, open like is it suppository? التحاميل اسمها ايه؟ طب ما انا بقولها صح. Yeah, enema, any enema thing or anything through the mouth, anything like that would break the fasting. But if anything penetrates, injection yani, through the skin, all of them are okay except for anything that can substitute food. Anything that can substitute food, supplements or some kind of stuff that will make you can live, glucose you can survive on, that is not food, but that is في حكم الطعام. So avoid these. And in general, if there is something that you can avoid during Ramadan, easily avoid. It's not something you have to take or something. It's always good to avoid it. But if you cannot avoid it, or if you want to do it in general, it doesn't affect fasting, as long as it's not like food. It doesn't have any nutrition in it. So vitamins is not nutrition. That's not nutrition. Vitamin 6, vitamin whatever, 12, that's not nutrition. I'm talking about something that can substitute food, that you can live on. So yeah, it's advisable, yani against, but if you want to do it, do it. But no, it's not food. You cannot survive on. It's okay, especially if it's you're gonna get headache and stuff. I am a very heavy drinker of coffee, and I fasted yesterday, and I was expecting. This is the only thing that I hesitate to fast for, the headache that I get because of the lack of coffee. Until Maghrib, I didn't even drink coffee after Maghrib, and it was fine. So, يعني على الله كل شيء. But if somebody takes that should be fine, inshallah. Like an appetite and fasting is very directly connected. Perhaps. نعم. لا, before. Or in the skin. Sometimes they have the skin through the skin. That's fine. Yeah. Questions? Yes. One way. Unfortunately. Yeah, the distance of traveling is 50 miles one way. So if you are going 50 miles or more, that is جماهير العلماء. Some scholars said anything that would be called traveling. If anything that's called traveling, you are musafir, that would apply. But I would go by the majority of the scholars. Questions? Come on, this is the time to ask a question, inshallah. If you have any, feel free. Fadal, go ahead. Yes, if you break your fasting, I said, if you miss your day for whatever reason, you have to make it later on, make up for it later on. If you can, if you cannot, then fidya. There's no one who can break their fasting and khalas, it's gone forever. There's nothing like that. If you are traveling, is it better to fast or not to fast? The mufti for this is going to be you. عمر بن عبد العزيز قال إيه؟ أحسنهما أيسرهما. The best is the easiest. You choose. For me, actually, most of the time, for me, it's the easiest for me to fast. For me, that's me, because it's otherwise I will be making up that day somewhere else or some other time that I'm not used to fasting in. But for others, it might be. So depending on the person. If you decide, it's not the sheikh who decides about it. Very good question. Now, during the flight, prayers, iftar, anything related to timing, that will always go by what you see. So, what is it that we have to see to break our fasting? Sun. So you will see, actually in the plane, usually it will be easier. You will see, where is east, where is west? Oh, west is that you see the sun drops under the horizon, it's time for you to break your fasting. That will be tricky though. If you are coming from the east to the west, you're traveling with the sun, the day will be, who knows, 35 hours. But if you decide to fast, that's fine. As long as the sun or the light is there, you're fasting. When you see the sun drops or the sun, يعني مثلا if you start fasting in Cairo, Fajr time, let's say presumably 4 a.m. and then there is a flight at 9 a.m. So you're fasting from 4 a.m. until 9 a.m. How many hours are these? 5 hours. And then you fly from Cairo to New York, and usually it gets there around 3 p.m. You're flying for 10 or 11 hours. Let's say 11 hours plus 5, that's what? 16. And then you reach there by, is 2 or 3? I think 3 p.m. And then Maghrib is what in New York? Maybe 7 p.m. or something? That's another, what? Well, that's almost like what? 20 hours. Normally you would, don't fast. But maybe somebody would decide, I'll sleep. Some people can sleep the whole time. Fine, it's fine with me. So you decide. Naam. If you're going the other way, it's true. Yeah, you will be, once you get to the plane, things will go faster, and that's okay. Can I go by the time, or do I go by the time of origin or destination? No, because you're not there. You're not at New York. You are in the middle of the ocean, or you are in Europe. You go by the time where you are. You don't go by Cairo, because you're not in Cairo, or whatever origin that you came from. So you always go by where you are. Allahu A'lam. Very good question. If I miss some days and then next Ramadan comes, the window to make up for these days without any problem or any blame is the next Ramadan. You have one full year. And there's no problem in delaying it. Sayyidah Aisha, she said, I used to not being able to make up for my missed days from Ramadan until the next Sha'ban, the last month before, the 12th month, last month before the next Ramadan comes. لانشغالي أو لمكاني من رسول الله, because I was like busy with Rasulullah, whether traveling or something. So that's perfectly fine. But what if I don't do it? If there is an excuse, fine. Excuse like what? A woman, pregnant, she's not capable of fasting, 9 months. Now she delivers, breastfeeding or complications or whatever. Next Ramadan comes and then she will be breastfeeding for the next 2 years. That is totally okay, because she has the excuse, but they will be accumulating on her that she can do them later on, inshallah. But many scholars said if you manage to make up for these days and you did not, then there's a blame on you. You didn't, like you missed salah and you didn't do it in time. You have to do it qada then. Along with that, they suggested the fidya, which is ta'amu miskin. Wallahu a'lam, yani what I lean towards is that I missed 1 day, I have to make 1 day. I missed 5 days, even if it's later on. If I do it within the year, I did it within the right time. If I delayed later on, same like salah. If I miss salatul dhuhr, it's obligatory on you to do it even if you delayed for 10 years. If you delayed for 10 years, do you have to make a dhuhr and half, dhuhr and extra rak'ah? No, it's going to be 1 dhuhr. Same thing. If I miss 1 day, that's my humble ijtihad. So you just do this. But if you want to ahwat, you want to do fidya along with it, Imam al-Shafi'i and others, they said you have to make fidya along with the qada. Wallahu a'lam. Yes, brother. Missing a day for when it comes to talking about reward and ajr and fadl from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whatever it is, we can easily go to the extreme or the maximum easily. Fadlullah wasi'. So inshallah yurja hadha al-fadl. You don't have to, it's always like the best to not miss anything from Ramadan if you can. But what if I miss one day because I was traveling or because of this and that? Then you have the excuse. Different from somebody who intentionally break their fasting with no excuse for one day. You cannot say logically that they're going to be the same like people who fast the whole Ramadan. But inshallah يرجى الفضل والثواب لكل من حاول. يعني اطرق الباب يفتح لك إن شاء الله. Keep knocking on the door and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you the reward. Any other questions? Sisters, you didn't ask any. Brothers, one more chance. There is no siyam that is mandatory except for two. No other siyam mandatory. One is the month of Ramadan. Who made that mandatory? Allah. The other one is if anybody makes a fasting mandatory on themselves through nadhr, something called nadhr. I took a, Ya Allah, if you do this to me, I'll fast 5 days. It becomes obligatory on you. Who made it obligatory? You made it obligatory on yourself. Nothing else is obligatory. So basically you can say only Siyam Ramadan, fasting of the month of Ramadan is mandatory. What are the 6 days after Ramadan? This is extra. This is nafila, suggested, recommended by the Prophet ﷺ. What if I don't fast them at all? You are 100% okay, no problem. It's just more reward. If you want extra reward, that is there, along with many other days, Arafat, Ashura, few other days that you may fast. But it doesn't have anything to do with Ramadan in terms of like being mandatory or not. Yes, sir. Yes. Yes. No, you don't. No, you don't. Like if you say, Ya Allah, if I pass this exam, I will give $100. If you don't pass, alas, you don't have to give the $100. And actually, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam discouraged us against, not recommended for us a nadhr. He said, a nadhr is not going to change the qada. Don't think it will change the qada or the qadar of Allah, whatever is going to happen. إنما يستخرج به من البخيل. It is just the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala extracts some from the bakhil, from the people who otherwise wouldn't do that. So don't actually he said don't do it. Don't do it. Don't make something. You can give $1 million out of sadaqah. And we have endowment project coming up inshallah. But don't make it obligatory on yourself. Make yourself I'm free, I'm outside. But I can, if I decide, yeah, I give 10,000 here, I give 5,000, I fast 1 day, I fast 10 days, you're free. But if you say, it's upon me, I took it on me to fast 10 days, you have to. It becomes just like Ramadan, the mandatory, you have to be. Allahu A'lam. Alright? الله تعالى أعلى وأعلم وجزاكم الله خيرا وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وبلغنا الله وإياكم رمضان.